Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on the gorgeous Ocean's Blue hoodie. How exciting is this hoodie? This is our very first hoodie here at Crochet Designs and I'm very excited about this. Alright, so firstly you will need yarn. What yarn did I use today? And I will talk about that. How beautiful is it? I love it so much. Alright, let me give you a quick, it's upside down for starters. Come on Mary. A quick close-up of Maximoo Yarns. Now here's a picture of the young fella Maximoo. He was at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show this year in July, so I purchased some yarn from him. And today's tutorial, the actual yarn itself, the colour combination, was chosen by one of our subscribers, Jeremy. And Jeremy has chosen, and this one was called Deep Freeze, that's the cream. And the blue one is called, I'll get it in a minute, Peacock. So you've got your two different colours, the blue and the cream. The cream has got little tips of blue in there. I'm loving this colour combo. A very special thank you to Max for his colours today and Jeremy for choosing this colour combination today. All right, so what did I use? I used 120 grams of the blue and 30 grams of the cream. I did make the tassels, I call them plaited tassels if you will, because it's just like doing chains. They literally are. No, it is chains. They're chains all the way through. All right. So I used one strand of the cream and two strands of the blue. All right. But that's all included. Yeah. So that's pretty much what you will need. Now this yarn calls for a 4mm hook. I use a 4mm hook throughout the whole piece, but we change to a 5mm hook when we start making our little chained tassels here. All right, you will need scissors. Yes, you will need 2 stitch markers and you will need a sewing needle. This is part 1, so you probably won't need that. Not right now. We're doing some sewing in part 2. So don't worry about the threads now. You probably won't need to worry about the sewing needle now. You will need the sewing needle in part 2 and I'll show you how to weave your ends in throughout the border round of these rounds that you see right here, the solid border rounds, yeah? And the way it looked, it was as though I was making the piece to be made that way when I was first creating, but it's not. It's made side to side and then we pop the length with our plain crochet. Bubbled edges, plain crochet gives it a nice solid look around the face. And as you can see by the photos, it is a stunning looking hoodie. So there you go. All right, so that's that. I'm not going to talk anymore. I will let you know that this yarn is actually, so that you know, this is hand-dyed yarn. So this is quite a gorgeous yarn. It is called an 8-ply or a DK weight or a 3-weight yarn if you're overseas. And this one here is actually, according to Max, hand-dyed on the peninsula, the Mornington Peninsula, if you will. And it is a superwash merino and it states it right there. All right. So superwash merino, it's quite a soft yarn. And this, for some reason, is one of the softest superwash merino I've had a chance to try. So keep in mind that sometimes some yarn can surprise you. I haven't washed it yet, so I don't even know. It'll probably get even softer. So there you go. Thank you very much, Max, for your yarn today. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to let you get started creating your gorgeous Ocean's Blue hoodie. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by making a slip knot. Grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Pass your back loop halfway over, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in and just give everything a tug. All right, give yourself a decent amount of tail so that you can weave in later. Okay. So from here we're going to make chains, and a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4 and 5. All right, so you have chain 5. So what I want you to do now is to continue making chains, and I'll meet you back here once you're done, and you need to make 86 chains. Then meet me back here and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, head off on your own, make your 86 chains, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of our 86 chains. What we're going to do now is pop half double crochets in each chain, but you have a choice. You can either pop it in, and I'll show you a nice close-up so you can see where I'm looking at. You can either pop it in that very first loop you see there, top loop like so, all right? Or you can turn your work and pop it in these back bumps like this. Whoops, let's try that again. Turn the work and pop it in these back bumps. It's a little fiddly because the thread is a little thinner than normal. All right, so pop it in the back bumps if you want to do that. That's more for the more avid or professional crocheter. If you are new to crochet, I would suggest just popping it in these top loops so it's easier for you to see. All right, but you should have all your chains ready to go, and what we're going to do is start our half double crochet, and that's yarn over your hook, and you're skipping your first stitch right there. You go into that second stitch and pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, pop your stitch marker here. That's a half double crochet US, half treble UK. All right, so your job now is to do just that. Half double crochet into every loop. When you come back, my half double crochets will be in the back bumps. All right, but if you want to continue doing yours in the actual top loop, that is fine. So yarn over your hook in the top loop, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, and so on until you get to your very last stitch. All right, so I'm going to let you head off and do that now because I'm struggling. I'm going to let you head off and do that now. Get to your very last stitch right there, or your second last stitch. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now I've done my stitches across, and after I complete my last stitch, I should have 85 stitches. So regardless of what you have, you could get away with having 85, 87, or even 83, but preferably 85. So if you've missed a stitch, add it. If you've added too many stitches, don't do your last stitch, or whatever the case may be. All right, so yarn over your hook, pop your last stitch in there. But before you do, we are going to change colours here. Now, if you don't want to change colours and you're using a solid colour, just continue your stitch without changing the colours. Okay, just do a half double crochet, chain 1, and wait for us there. But for anyone changing colours, pop your hook in the stitch and pull a loop through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Grab your lighter colour or whatever you're using. I'm using the cream. Pop it over your hook, pull that loop through like so. Now this is where it can get a tiny little bit tricky because we're going to do 2 rows of this cream. So when we come back, we're going to use the blue again. We're not cutting the blue. I'm trying to save you tails. But if you want to cut your blue and then just keep rejoining at the end of each, second row, then that's fine. At the end of the second row of cream, that is. All right, so what you want to do now is just grab the tail end of your cream and pop it at the back. Leave both the blues in front for a minute, which is the tail end of your blue and the working end of your blue. Or maybe pop the tail end of your blue in front, just holding it there for a minute. All right, you want to chain 1, but before you do, you're going to pass your blue over your cream. All right, now if you are not changing yarn, just chain 1 and meet us there. All right, so we're chaining 1 like so, and the blue is now there, so it'll be lifted up at the end of the next row as well, which I'll show you then. All right, so now what you want to do is turn your work, and you want to work along these stitches here. Just leave all your tails there, yarn over your hook in that very first stitch you are in. That's the chain and that's the stitch right there. It's a bit tight, but it's there. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, and do your half double like normal. And that's in the whole stitch for the first stitch and for the last stitch. But for every other stitch, we are going into what we call a third loop. So yarn over your hook, and that is you've got 1 loop there, one loop in front and one loop at the back. In actual fact, that's the actual stitch itself right there. So really it's only a back loop. But I'm saying a third loop because you've got one there, and one there. So pop your hook in the third loop and do your half double crochet. I'll get a close up for you. All right, so there's the one, there's the two, and right at the back is the three. Pop your hook in, do your half double crochet. A very simple move. Face your work to you, find that last loop. Okay, if that helps. All right, and that's pretty much basic. That is the stitch all the way through. All right, I'm not going to show you this. It'll take too long. You know what you're doing now. You can always go back and watch this part. But you're popping a half double crochet in that third loop or the back loop of each stitch. Get to your very last stitch right there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our row, and I asked you to pop your half double crochets in your back loop or your third loop, if you will. And on the last stitch right here with our stitch marker, we're going to pop one half double crochet in the whole stitch like so. Alright, so do your half double crochet like normal. Remove that stitch marker for a minute, chaining one, turn your work, half double crochet in that first stitch, ignoring your chain one and popping your half double crochet right there. All right, so just in that first stitch like normal, grab your stitch marker and pop it in the stitch right there. Okay, your two loops. And now you're going to repeat that row exactly the same. All right, so yarn over your hook, you've got your very next stitch, which is there, and there's your one loop, your two loops, and your third loop right there. So you're doing your half double crochet in that third loop. Look how dark that blue's gone. And now we're going to change back into the cream. How cute is this colour? You've got to love Max from Maximoo Yarns for his colour combination today. I love it. Oh, and I got very quiet there, guys. Sorry about that. It happens occasionally. So, half double crochet in the back loop only all the way across. Get to your second last stitch right there. Meet me there when you're done, and we will talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this row. It's very exciting now. What we're going to do here is, that's our second last stitch. I'm going to show you what I've done just so you know where you're at. So yarn over the hook, and there's the second last stitch and the last stitch. We go in the back loop of that second last stitch, or the third loop, whatever you want to call it. And then you're going to do a half double crochet directly in that stitch there. But now we're going to carry up this blue and change blue. Again, if you are not changing colours, half double crochet, chain one, and turn your work, right? But for us, we're changing. So yarn over our hook, pop it in the stitch with the stitch marker. Might pay to remove the stitch marker here, okay? Now pull the white or cream through like normal. Drop your cream, grab your blue. Just make sure that's not too loose. If it's like this, it's no good, yeah? So just make sure it's not too tight either. But just maybe pop the cream at the back with your tails at the back for a minute. And see your blue. You want to pull it through, but don't pull tight, or this is going to pull up, and you don't want that. So just grab your blue and pull it through all three loops on your hook. Just letting go of everything. So gently grab your cream. All right, so you're going to cut the cream in a minute, but don't worry about it for now. What you're going to do is chain one. Let's go back to that. This is where our repeat is going to happen. Chain one, turn your work, and you're going to repeat the row, but this is the first repeat, first row repeat. So yarn over your hook, pop your hook into the same stitch that you are in. There's your chain, there's your stitch. Pop your hook in the stitch, pull a loop through, three loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all three loops, grab your stitch marker. Really important in this pattern to use a stitch marker, and try not to do these side stitches here too tight. All right, so now you're going to do exactly the same. You're going to pop your half double crochet in that third loop right there. Okay, so that's your next stitch. Turn it over, find your third loop and do your half double crochet. Super easy, yeah? Very, very easy. And the fact that it is a repetitive pattern means you don't have to think too much. I love those ones. I could do with a non-thinking pattern, yeah? So just half double crochet into every back loop all the way across and then get to that second last stitch and I'll meet you there. But have a look already at the way it's turning out. You can see like bubble, bubble, yeah? And you're turning it over, bubble, bubble. All right, so right now we've done 1, 2, 3 rows of half double back loops only. Don't worry about the count yet. We're going to start the count from this row right here. All right, so we're going to do this row, get to the end of the row, meet me there once you're done. Don't worry about my little loop there, I'll fix that in a minute. Meet me there once you're done, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this row. I forgot to mention before to cut your cream. So cut your cream, you're not going to use that for another 9 rows. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, what we're going to do simply is this. I asked you to do your half double crochets in your back loop only. Got to the end of the row, we're popping a half double crochet in the stitch itself, like normal. Remove that stitch marker. Chain 1 and turn. Now I said that this row was your first row repeat. What I want you to do now is let's bring that out again, sorry about that. Do 9 more rows exactly the same as this. You chain 1, half double in your first stitch, half double back loop only, all the way across, half double in the actual stitch. Chain 1, turn and do the same. All right, so for now, your only job is to do that. 9 rows of this row, exactly the same, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so what you should have right now is 1 row blue, 2 rows cream, and 10 rows blue. All right, so the actual pattern itself is very simple and it looks something like this. Ta-da! It doesn't look like this, it is this. Don't you love it? All right, so where you are right now is here. Your job now is to do 2 rows cream, 10 rows blue. 2 rows cream, 10 rows blue, and 2 rows cream. All right, so right now you are there. All right, that is your job now. This is what we're going to do for part 1. Yes, we're going to end part 1 here and we're going to return back next week for part 2 because this is going to take you a while. All right, so 2 rows cream, 10 blue, 2 cream, 10 blue, 2 cream, all sizes. Okay, so all sizes do that. Meet me back here next week and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Once again, a very special thank you to the wonderful Jeremy for his colour combination in today's tutorial. Don't forget guys, if you want to be a part of Wow Crochet Designs and help choose a colour combination of our very next tutorial, join us on our live Saturday morning 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country and you too can get to choose a colour combination of our very next tutorial. Very, very exciting. All right, I'll leave all the information that you need to complete this part of the tutorial and then I'll meet you back here next week and we will finalise our hoodie. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs. Ciao for now.